His new movie, Tag, is in theaters this Friday. He is likable and, as we may have mentioned, steamy, sensual, impossibly masculine, soaked in testosterone. Thank you, John, for making time for us. You do. You laugh like Jon Hamm. You do.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever told you that? You laugh just like him.
Steamy. That's too good.
And you sound like Jon Hamm.
I mean, look, you must have buried.
I'm coming off like 2 weeks of talking about this movie. I have no voice left, and I'm sitting in a green room at the View, so I'm really feeling very masculine indeed right now.
All right. It's a perfect place to ask you about your teenage feud with Paul Rudd and how you stole all the ladies from him because, again, you're impossibly dashing.
Oh, there's a lot been made out of that. Paul and I are good friends for a long time, but yeah, it's we've been competitive with one another for many years about many things. Most recently, we play. Paul does a celebrity bowling thing in KC. He's from KC and I'm from St. Louis, so we're already at odds over that. I'm still mad about 1985. I don't want to talk about it, but. Yeah, we've been good friends and playful rivals over the years. He's a good man.
But you also compete for the same women in high school, right?
Well, there were one sort of famous girl that we were both sweet on, and yes.
I'm sorry to bring up this dark time in your life. Is it okay to talk about or no? It feels like it's a dark time to discuss. You don't want to talk about your relationship with it.
I mean, it was only 35 years ago. I might not have gotten over it. Don't worry about it.
Who got her? I mean, he got her? What happened there? Who got her?
No, he
John,
didn't.
who got her?
I did.
Okay. Of course. What do you mean? Of course.
Whoa,
of course.
Okay. Sorry.
What can you tell us about what the early years looked like for you going to Hollywood with, how much money, in what car, suffering for how long?
I literally drove my 1986 Toyota Corolla west, stayed in a friend's house in Denver, stayed in a friend's house. I was meant to stay in a friend's house in Carlin, Nevada, but he neglected to tell me that he had packed up and moved. So I got to Carlin, Nevada. Again, this was the days before cell phones. And I went to a truck stop payphone to call my friend, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I moved." I was like, "So can I not stay in your place?"
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, it doesn't exist. So I slept in my car in a truck stop, which is terrifying. And then I slept in some friends' houses in San Francisco, and I made it all the way out to California, and I had $150 and some credit cards that I knew I was going to default on, and that was my method of existence for a little while, and it took me about 3 years to get any kind of acting work. I was a caterer and a waiter and a bartender and all that other stuff.
3 years?
And,
Yeah, you had to have doubted, right? You had to have doubted.
I got a lot of auditions, so I felt very confident that something was going to happen. It just I would get all the way up to like the last thing and then stumble on the final hurdle. So it was kind of one of those things of that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, I guess. So eventually, I finally cleared the last hurdle and started working. And by the time I moved out to LA when I was 25. By the time I turned 30, I was not waiting tables anymore. I was able to support myself as an actor. So I did it in my set allotted time window.
Jon Hamm with us here on ESPN Radio. His new movie, Tag, is in theaters this Friday. 3 years, though, man. Then they see how handsome you are?
Yeah, what happened? Like, you go in, you get...
Deal. There's the moving to L.A. is like, especially from a place like St. Louis, moving to L.A. is like, okay, hey, go sit in that line with 8 guys that look just like you and are more famous.
Wait, there are other guys out there that look like you?
Well, who does Jon Hamm look at and say, that man is steamy and impossibly dashing?
I mean, fill in the blank. At the time, it was, who knows, James Vanderbeek? I don't know. Whoever it was, they were all getting cast, and I wasn't.
John, what's your life look like if you don't succeed by the age of 30?
I probably would have moved back to St. Louis. Probably would have gone back to teaching. I probably would have had a different existence, and I probably would have been just fine with it. I love St. Louis. I love being from there. I loved teaching. I taught at my old high school, so I kind of went back to school in a sort of Rodney Dangerfield way, and I dug it. So that's probably what I would have done.
Give me a number of couches that you stayed on, like a number where that was.
Oh,
give me a number.
It's double digits.
Is it
definitely double digits?
Really? For how long are you living on couches?
Well, I mean. I was, I lost my mom when I was 9 and my dad when I was 20, so I was kind of on my own for the majority of my life, and I had a lot of good friends and a lot of family friends and a lot of very comfortable couches. I will say this: I do appreciate a comfortable couch. In fact, in my house now, I had the couch kind of built for the room that the couch lives in. So I'm like,
it's important
this
to
is
you.
my jam.
Yeah, because of those scars, it's important. Again, a new movie, Tag, is in theaters this Friday. Jon Hamm is with us. You told In Style one time, you said, I'm certainly damaged. There's no denying it. If you look at the history of my life, it's not great when your mom dies when you're 9 and your dad dies when you're 20, and then you live on couches in other people's basements. I mean, there's certainly a version of that person who does not come out of it as successfully as I have. What was the most turbulent period through all of that where you felt like, I'm not going to come out of this successfully?
Right after my dad died, I was really kind of adrift. It was a real hard time, and I struggled with depression, and I struggled with what is my life going to be, because I had no rudder really, and I fortunately had some incredibly close friends, families, basically, but their moms and dads kind of step up and really take a guiding presence in my life. I'm not kidding. I talk about mental health all the time. It's so important, and it's kind of looked over or kind of laughed at in many ways, and it shouldn't be. I mean, we just lost Anthony Bourdain. We just lost Kate Spade to suicide, and those are extreme examples, but you can slip down that path relatively easily, and I think even nowadays with the social media and how people get treated on social media and stuff, it's tricky, and keeping your mental health in check is a real important thing, and thank God I had those people in my life, and they were able to sort of step up and give me a gentle nudge down the path, like I said in that quote that you mentioned, like I certainly wouldn't have been as successful, and who knows what would have happened.
Did you find any escapes for your depression? Were you looking in places to help yourself medicate?
Well, I've always been very athletic. Like, I'm a sports guy, like always have been, and so I find, like, when I move my body, I've always been a team sports guy. I still play baseball in a men's league in LA. Like, I look for that kind of physical release. To kind of jumpstart my brain and kind of kickstart that. And
who's in that league? Who's in that league?
Tell me now.
Yeah, You're not the only celebrity in that league, right?
Casey Affleck plays with us. He's kind of one of our guys, and then it's just a bunch of dudes from LA, just like some agents and some other folks and writers and Hollywood dudes. It's a bunch of over 40 guys that are trying not to get hurt.
Jon, you seem to be enjoying this, and we're enjoying having you on the show. We're thinking maybe a weekly men's update. No, a men's league update weekly. You like baseball? No.
Knock it off.
Let Jon answer. I bet you he wants to do it.
What's the matter with you? You put people in this spot. Hey, want to work for free every week giving us baseball updates. I would just like to know what your league looks like. Give us, what are you hitting? You're a guy who keeps your own stats, right? Like, you know what your team's record is and stuff.
Well, I couldn't play last weekend because I was doing press, and we lost by 1 run. We were in first place. I think we're 3-2 now. There's only 8 teams in the league. It's not like it's hard to get 10 to 15 guys together once a week that have jobs. But we try, and a couple of the team went from 4 teams. The league went from 4 teams to 8 teams, so we have some different folks in the league this year. But I've been playing in it for over 10 years. It's fun.
How many ribbies?
Knock it off!
How many ribbies?
Knock it off!
I had 2 RBIs in the last game.
Attaboy.
New movie Tag is in theaters this Friday. The cast has crashed weddings during the filming. Jeremy Renner is wearing casts, plural, because he broke everything the 3rd day of production. So Tag, go see it. It's in theaters this Friday, his new movie, and you're ridiculous. Don't try and get him for the entire, for a week.
Jon, we're good on this weekly update. You would enjoy that, Jon. Tell us some baseball, right?
Talk to you tomorrow, Jon.
I'll call back in. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Money, 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 money.